As leaders arrived in the country on Sunday, many also made their way to Westminster Hall to pay their respects to the Queen. U.S. President Joe Biden, alongside First Lady Jill Biden, took their place on the balcony, making the sign of the cross before briefly placing a hand on his heart. The couple was accompanied by the U.S. Ambassador to the UK, Jane Hunt. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, and Cyprus President Nikos Anastasiadis paid their respects to the late Queen. Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan and members of the Chinese delegation view the coffin of the Queen. Mr. Wang will also be attending the Queen's funeral at the invitation of the British government, according to the Foreign Ministry. Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska and the Kings of Spain and Sweden also visited Westminster Hall to pay their respects to the late Queen. Even the French President Emmanuel Macron, alongside his wife Brigitte. After paying their respects, leaders began arriving at Buckingham Palace for a reception ahead of the funeral, with King Charles III as their host. Presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, and sultans, representing nearly 200 countries and territories, are expected at the funeral on Monday. Meanwhile, King Charles also received leaders from the realms. Prime ministers from Tuvalu, Antigua and Barbuda, and Papua New Guinea were among those to meet the king in the 1844 room of Buckingham Palace. As monarch, the king is now head of 15 states, though he wields little constitutional power or influence. Tens of thousands of police officers and military personnel will be taking part in the state funeral on Monday, September 19, in what will be one of the biggest security operations the country has ever seen. The Queen's funeral is expected to attract hundreds of thousands of people to London streets, echoing other important events in Britain's history, including her coronation in 1953, the funeral of former Prime Minister Winston Churchill in 1965, and the death of Princess Diana in 1997. And as the countdown begins to 6:30 a.m. of Monday, the end of the line in state for the Queen, it seems the whole world is still waiting in line to catch a last glimpse of the longest reigning monarch of the British Empire. And on a programming note, Channels Television will be bringing you live coverage of the Queen's funeral on Monday, September 19, 2022, from both our Lagos and London studios from 10 a.m. Join us then.